All right, should be up and running here. We just had the closing bell. All right, and gonna be having a nice long weekend here. So just a reminder, market is closed on Monday. Okay, so we won't be back at it till Tuesday. Okay, but let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for September 3rd, 2021. Qs up 0.31, so up just a little bit there, and then SPY basically flat. Okay, IWM down like 0.5%. As we said yesterday, we could get a pullback in the IWM, it would still be bullish, most likely. I mean, unless it's a really dramatic, steep pullback. But yeah, that was what we were expecting coming into today. We were watching closely yesterday's lows on the Qs and the SPY. Okay, and for the Qs here, the low was 379.15, and you can see that we kind of gapped down to it, and then we just got bought. SPY did break, but then immediately got bought. Okay, and so that's why we often talk about we need to see some follow through, right? Because it's quite common you get just breaks by a little bit and then reverses trend. It just kind of it does what it does to maybe shake out some of the weak hands and then move back up, or suck in some of the last minute longs before coming back in. So you kind of have to wait to see if it either stays at the lows, or if it comes in maybe the next setup. That's what we talk about all the time, just because we see this kind of stuff, the way that the market moves, and the market kind of will kind of break to new highs or break support by a little bit before reversing. So Qs wasn't even an issue, didn't break it by at all. So as if it didn't break, then we're still going to be bullish on Tuesday. Okay. Today's low now on the Qs, which is basically the same as yesterday's, and then today's low on the SPY is where we start our short-term bearish bias, but still bullish on the Qs and SPY on the long term, as we just have the nice grindy uptrend here on the Qs and SPY. Okay. All right. Let's get into today's plays. I thought today's gaps list was very, very weak. Some of the things that were interesting, like the BGRY, was not available for me to short, but I do like this gap quite a bit. So that not available. We had some other ones that were thin, spready, a lot of stuff like that today. I did give this MMAT a shot here. I thought we could get some follow through here as it's moving up. I don't love the gap. I primarily just like the larger time frame transition it's trying to do, and I'll show you where the buy setup is. And as I went over in the room, it was a bit aggressive. Okay, so and I asked the room, what are some things about this that maybe weren't worth a shot. Now I showed you the daily, that's why I liked it. The pattern I like as well. We get a pullback first, buy setup triggers, and then I'm playing over that. So it did trigger. Couple things. First thing that really, to me, was the most flawed aspect of the play is the climactic nature of the first move up. Okay, is that you can see biggest bar, biggest volume up at the top. As someone else pointed out too, you get a wide range bar to start the pullback, but I did wait for a secondary entry because the buy setup actually triggers in here, and then I waited for that to trigger, then played over it. So this play did not work, but I knew it was kind of aggressive, and if it was going to follow through, might be big. That's kind of the idea. Maybe a little bit lower odds than plays that I typically take, but playing it for the potential reward to risk, okay, in case it gets moving. And then the rest of the day, it was pretty quiet. There's some scalps here and there. If you're in the room, you know what they are. DNN. There's another one, SLRX, which was really nice from James. Some little ones here and there. But then the next primary kind of big play here was the Joan, which, right until the end of the day. Now, I've gotten this question before from asking if it's Friday, and sometimes it's Friday before a long weekend, should I just not trade? Should I just call it a day. And some Fridays and some days may end up being like that in the afternoon. But that there's no kind of rule to that, and sometimes you just get stuff like this. Look at how tight this base is. This, I was on the mic when this was happening, and it's just, we all are probably thinking about the 3-day weekend, but this I just have to play. There's just no reason not to. Now in the morning, I think it was okay to play as well. The reason that I did not, and we were looking at it actually in here to see if that was going to basically set up a base breakdown under 50, which ended up being even better. Look at the difference. So that's a base, or kind of like consolidation, right? And then that is really a base, right? Really sideways, really tight, equal highs, equal lows. So this was just, to me, had to be played. And so that was a nice little play just to end the day and the week on the Joan. Now, the other thing about why it was a little bit less aggressive with this early on is that the gap was not novice, but had some novice aspects to it. See the 3 red bars and then gapping down. So why would I want to not play this short too early? Is because anybody that's been short this into, I think they reported earnings, is going to want to take profit. That's a really nice, play in your favor. And we know that there's been net selling for the last few days. So I want to make sure that, this first maybe move up, I don't get sucked into a short and then get kicked out. As that noviceness wears off, as that profit taking happens, then it's okay to play even novice gaps in the afternoon in the direction of the gap, because the kind of impact of the gap or the direction of the gap is taking over. So, you might see some buying on a gap like this in the morning because of profit taking. But that doesn't change the fact that this is a bearish gap, right? This is a pretty bearish gap. Now it's like very close to the lows. Looks really damaged on the weekly and the monthly, right? This looks lower still. So, so in the afternoon, then we get more follow through in the direction of the gap. That's to be expected. Okay, so that was kind of the roadmap or the process that we went through with the Joanne today. This was actually called by Sammy. I just happened to be on the mic at the time that I was triggering, but this was actually his play that he called, and then I was on the mic here when we were going over this base as well. So so that was kind of nice. And if it had just been a nothing day where, all I did was the MMAT and some scalps, then fine. That's just the day it is. It doesn't, I think we talked about this yesterday. It doesn't always have to be that something's gonna come up later or there's gonna be stuff to do. But, it's the benefit of being in the room, having a lot of eyes on the play, people working out the numbers on the play. And so it helps you just kind of stay focused through the day. Okay, I thought it was a pretty sloppy morning, not all that much to do, but it still turned out to be okay. Okay, all right, that's gonna do it for me. Hope you guys had a nice week this week. Enjoy your 3-day weekend, and I will talk to you guys on Tuesday. Have a good one.